Hey everyone, hello and welcome back to Core Reef Keepers. In today's video, I'm going to be moving my 60 gallon into my 135. To start the process, I first wanted to try and salvage two pieces of coral that I had in the tank. Unfortunately, these corals have encrusted onto the rock, and I didn't want to take that rock into the other tank, so I started by removing those pieces first and putting them in a bucket with salt water, so later I could take them out and remove the coral from the rock as best I could. After I had the coral rock set aside, I removed any piece of rock that was not buried in the sand and placed them in buckets. Now comes the fun part. Using the 2-net method, I went after my clownfish and sailfin tang. Now, because the two tanks are kept at the same parameters, I didn't bother acclimating the fish to the new tank. I just netted them and put them right into their new home. Now, of course, this is easier said than done, but after a little bit of chasing around the tank, and I'd say maybe about 15-20 minutes, I eventually got both fish netted out and into the new tank. So here we are, the fish in their new home. Now you may have noticed I didn't mention moving my fox face, and that's because I had already moved him about 2 weeks ago. He was kind of a trial run before I moved everyone else because he's the most passive-aggressive fish out of the bunch, and I figured he would just kind of be nice and easy to introduce him first into the tank and then bring the other two over. Needless to say, as soon as the sailfin and clownfish recognized their long-lost friend, they came out of hiding and began swimming around immediately. Actually, the clownfish was the first. I mean, as soon as he saw his buddy, he was out and about swimming around. The sailfin took a little bit longer, but they're all back together again, and you could tell they're definitely happy. So now that I wrangled all the fish out of the tank, I pulled out a few more pieces of live rock. As I pulled out the rock, I grabbed any cleanup crew members that I could see and placed them in a bowl full of tank water. Now, I'm still going to leave this tank up and running for a week or so to keep an eye out for any snails or hermits that I may have missed. I also don't want to take down the tank completely at this point due to the fact that I have no one to help me move the tank out of the house once emptied. If you've never torn down a tank before, once a tank is emptied, it stinks to high hell. So the day I tear the tank down, it needs to immediately go outside to the garage so everything can dry up and die off. Now that most of the livestock and rock is out of the 60 gallon, it was time to take down the two Hydra 26s and put them over the 135. With a helping hand from my son Avery and a minor tweak to the canopy, I got the Hydra 26s installed. Right, so here are the Hydra 26s installed into my canopy. Now that they're in, I definitely have room for one or two more lights right here in the middle. Now when I went to put the lights into the aluminum rails, I realized that I had made a mistake. The rails were just a little too close together. The reason for that is because when I originally measured the lights, I did not take into consideration the power cord that plugs into the back. So with a little bit of tweaking, I got the lights to fit into place. So here's the tank with the LEDs on. Unfortunately, the camera doesn't really show much of a difference, and with the T5s on, there really isn't much of one. At this point, it'll just come down to doing some tweaking with the lighting schedule and getting the par meter in there and taking some measurements around the tank. Although, I definitely see myself adding more LED lights in the coming future. I'm thinking more AI lights or some Orphic or Reef Bright strips. So what happens next? The 60 gallon will need to be drained and moved out to my garage where it will sit until spring, then it can be cleaned and scrubbed. Once the 60 gallon is out of the way, I can finally move my 40 breeder over in its place, and then I can get ready to hook that up to use as a frag/grow out tank. The 40 breeder will be plumbed into the 135 using pre-existing plumbing. I had planned to add this tank from the beginning, so the plumbing is already set to receive the new addition. All I have to do is move it in place, hook up the plumbing, add some water, and it's good to go. From there, my 20 long will be taken down and moved into the 40 breeder, and my project will be complete for now. In the time being, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So that's all for today's video, and until next time, happy reefing.